right, so today we have Ethan Ouyang, technical lead at Atoms, which you can find at atoms.dev. The taglines on the website are turn ideas into products that sell, as well as AI employees that validate ideas, build products, and acquire customers in minutes without coding. And with that, Ethan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me.
All right. So actually, before we go into atoms, I just have a few high-level questions. So we're seeing a wave of Chinese AI startups like Manus, like you folks launching in the US. So is this primarily what's the reasoning why the Chinese startups are going to the US? Is it because the Chinese market is so competitive that they wanna explore what they can do in the West instead? So why suddenly are the Chinese startups launching in the West, in the US in particular?
Yes. I think the US is the natural place to launch AI products nowadays at this time. And there are a couple reasons, in my opinion. The first is that I think the US is where people actively build and monetize on the internet. So we have creators, indie hackers, solo founders, and small business who are constantly experimenting. They're launching websites, product stores, and communities. So that behavior already exists. And AI simply accelerates it. And another reason is willingness to pay. In the US, consumers are used to paying for software that helps them create, earn, or save time. That makes it much easier to validate whether a product actually delivers value. So I think the US market gives us very clear signals. And also, there's also a strong flywheel here. Capital, cloud infra, and the AI talents all sit in the same place. That makes it much easier to iterate quickly, ship faster, and then learn from real users. So I think it's very natural for any AI company or any AI product to launch in the US to test, to experiment, and to adopt more customers and to seeking more growth. Yeah.
So in the past, I chaired AI conferences in China. This was before COVID. And the impression I get in China is one, very competitive, right? So you have an idea, 2 weeks later, you have 20 other startups uh, you have to compete with, right? So is one reason it's less competitive here, number one. And number two, Ethan, to explore further what you just said there. So the impression that I and others get is that diffusion, the application of AI, is actually the Chinese seem to be more focused on helping companies apply AI. In the US, the tech companies seem to be focused on foundation models and and AGI to some extent. So in other words, in China, applications seem to be much more the focus. So so he, there. What I'm saying is that I guess one is one reason why they're here. It's less competitive, and then secondly, why are they here? Because it seems like in China, a lot of people are looking to apply AI.
Yeah. So regarding the first question about more or less competitive, I think the competition is fierce globally for AIs. But of course, you mentioned there are two aspects. One is for models itself, the large language models or the foundation models, and the other part is the application level. I think the competition for both aspects are very fierce. So, but I think like I just said, I think in the US, I think it's uniquely important because this is where the global standards or the standards for AI products are set. Like commercially, technically, culturally. So I think it's always valuable to prove your concepts or your product in this market. So, and that can explain. That's one of the reasons why people tend to, or companies tend to launch their products in the US. Yes.
And then you also mentioned earlier that there's some sort of flywheel and
Yeah.
access to capital is one of them, right?
Yes, like capital, cloud infra, and AI talents, and the atmosphere in in the Bay Area is specifically the hackathons and the the marketing, all these events. I think that's very attractive to all the AI companies and the AI or the AI driven companies. Yes, we do enjoy the atmosphere or the phenomenon here. Yeah.
So practically speaking, so what do US developers and founders demand that's different from the Chinese market? Are we talking about security, privacy? So is there, so if you launch here as opposed to China, what's practically different?
Um, I don't see any major differences because, we are like open to public. We're trying to, like the respect users' privacy and all these regulations, everything. We do it like with like we're under the rules. But I think it's just the focus now for us is to keep adopting more customers, keep enhancing our products, keeping improving the user experience. I think that's what we're focusing on. Yeah.
And by the way, for our listeners, the team at Atoms used the phrase vibe business, right? So,
Yeah.
so everyone
Yeah.
has heard of vibe coding. So
Yeah.
they're taking the hype to the next level, which is basically, we will let you launch a business using prompts, basically, all the aspects of the business that you require. So, with that said, right? So nowadays, people have observed, right? So it's one thing to have some level of adoption, but really the battle now seems to be around reliability, right? So in your folks' case, how do you bridge the gap from a demo to a system that actually is reliable and delivers, I don't know, 95 plus percent of the time, what users are expecting?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. I think AI is shifting from being about demos or some concepts to being about like execution and the real outcomes, right? So uh, I think like in the US market, it's actually the most outcome-driven market in the world. Customers don't buy AI because it's impressive. They buy it because it moves real business metrics or delivers real outcomes. And as of items, we are not just like a assistant. We're actually designed to be a platform for building revenue-ready products with our autonomous AI teams. So instead of helping people write code faster, we help them make decisions, execute, and monetize. So end to end. And for example, in a single prompt, items can research a market, design a product, build a system, launch it, and optimize revenue. So this capabilities is not just a prompt or a foundation a model. It's actually a complex system. So it's all about system designs, the algorithms behind it, and how we orchestrate the intelligence or orchestrate the agents to actually coordinate, to deliver the product accurately and with less timing. And we also have spent years publishing and uh, open sourcing our foundations. So everything was built on top of those researchers and all those like the investigations. Yeah.
By the way, Ethan, it's one thing to talk about vibe coding, right? So in the case of vibe coding, you can validate the result, right? So because it's a piece of code, and you can see if it works, if it runs the way you expect it to run. You can debug it and all of that. And
Mhm.
so in your case, now you're talking about going beyond that to not just helping people build their product the code for the product if it's a piece of software, but actually the business itself, which means what in practical terms? So a business is comprised of many parts, right? So there's sales, there's marketing, there's product management, and so on and so forth. So what are the aspects right now that are most mature inside the Atoms platform in terms of uh, following up with this notion of developing a business from scratch?
Yes. I think our product's ready to go. It's well tested and it has been verified. I can give you
So
an
is it
example
is it,
like
is it forgive me, Ethan, I haven't tried it, but is
okay.
it are there modules, right? So here's the marketing module, here's the finance, and so how does
Yes.
it work?
Yes, so we are a multi-agent system,
Yeah.
and when the users give us a prompt, so there are different agents or they are responsible for different aspects. Like we have product designers, we actually have a researchers, we have a deep research feature, and then we have engineers that actually execute. So everything is orchestrated and all these features, and also we in term like I can talk more about the engineering part.
So so
So
so
and
the
yeah.
let me ask you this. So like I said, so for coding, I prompt and then I get the code, I run it, it works or doesn't work. So product design. So usually you have user testing and things like this. So what is the validation step? What is the eval for the different parts of atoms?
Yes. So for each part, we also we have this internal mechanism to run loops, and we have this eval part for basically
But
we even
they're
have a
also,
u
so the eval is also another model or another agent, or is
yes,
it?
we also have a user agent actually. We also have
Yeah,
a user agent to
right,
verify
right, right, right.
the
But the user agent is just a virtual user. It
yeah.
may not be a real user. You know what I mean? So it may not be statistically representative of an actual user.
Oh, sure. Yes. So if we want to actually make it 100% reliable, it's inevitable we need to have the dog fooding phase or the
Right. Right.
people human in the loop phase like all the people or engineers designers in the company need to test some key features of some the vital performance vital behaviors of the the prompts. Yeah, that's also part
So
of the yeah.
it might be useful, Ethan. So if you're comfortable, let's walk through a success story. So a user that actually used Atoms from scratch and then launched a successful business. Do you have such an example?
Yeah, so I can give you an example like a direct to consumer brand. We
Okay.
call it a DTC brand. So basically, a user might start with nothing more than a rough idea or a few sketches, and then they ask items turn this into a business. So, like I said, the multi-agent system will start, will spin up, and will items will analyze the market demand with the deep research features, defines the target audience, sets pricing, and then we'll design the pages, build a storefront, integrate the core features such as the payments and fulfillments, and launch the SEO pages, then deploys everything, and then the user agent will test the features, see if the features are properly implemented. Well, from the first result might not be perfect, but user can keep adding prompts or communicate with our agents and keep customize the features. Yes.
So then, obviously, Ethan, if the direct to consumer brand is actually a physical item like a T-shirt or a shoe,
Yes.
then
Yeah.
you'll also have to hook me up with the manufacturing supply chain and all of this stuff, right? So, uh,
Yes.
uh, is that included?
Yes. That also includes external applications or tool calls. Like if you want to, there are some some companies called Printful. So basically, we can call their APIs and do, to actually implement the products, yeah, to create the SKUs and the stuff, yeah, and
So,
the preview of the product and the testing, yeah.
so you mentioned deep research. So the deep research agent does the actual market analysis, competitive analysis, and so on and so forth. So what are
Mhm.
the other key agents?
The key agents will be like product designers, right? Like the tech lead. The tech lead will actually try to organize the priority, but and the sequence of executions. So, but the next will probably be tech lead and the tech lead, and then the product designer. They will design the pages and how users will can interact, and depending on users like input or prompt, they will design how this the website, how the front end look like, and what will the back end look like, what kind of databases or tables are needed. And then the engineers will take over the execution work, and they'll run their own like algorithms or like their loop, and keep iterating the product. And then with the user agents, we'll do some kind of some level of testing, like the verify the system has like it is at least behaving like partially correctly, or at least it's like there's no fundamental errors, and then we will deliver to the preview page to the users, and users can see if they actually like it or not, and they can keep prompting or keep giving feedback to the agents, and they will close the loop, and the loop starts, and it will keep running this way. Yeah.
So the user interface of Atoms, am I able to track what's going on? So in other words, so the product designer is now working on something, and before we proceed further, I can approve or or give
Oh
feedback,
yeah, yeah.
right? So,
Yes, of course. Basically, that's a very good point, and it's all very important user experience. Humans really want to understand what's going on. What it is running smoothly, or is anything blocked? Do I need to uh, add more inputs? So we call it like for some key vital decisions or key decisions, we do need a human approval. Like will our designer or our like the tech lead will actually give users like a plan, like the first version of the plan, and the users can say, hey, can edit the plan, like, hey, can I? You didn't include the payment feature. You need to include the payment feature because I want to, I want to be for I want to make it possible that users can pay and buy my product, or maybe it's already like looking good, and users can just hit approve and let the engineers start executions. Yes.
so uh, I think you recently introduced like a backend. Is that a separate offering? And what exactly is the Atoms backend?
So the Atoms backend, we have been iterating on Atoms backend for almost for a couple of months. So now I think we are in our strongest format. Like we have I think we modularize the backend features and make them flexible, and they can be installed, uninstalled, or they can be like plug in, unplug into the product. So basically, our agents can flexibly choose whether or not to use a specific backend feature or not. It all depends
And
on the user's intention. Yeah.
what are the backend features that, yeah, are currently available?
Yeah, I can give you some examples. Like
Yeah.
we have databases, authentications,
Hmm.
and payments, and deployments, and SEO, building SEO pages, and there will be more. For instance, if you are building a like e-business website, there are like cards, right? All this like the
So
uh,
these aspects, Ethan, are more geared towards developer or more technical people, because frankly, if I'm not technical, I may not even know what I need from a backend. I just assume that you're going to take care of everything, right? So this gives
yes.
the developer or more technical user more fine-grained control.
Yes, exactly. So we are open to any kind of customers. So, but to be honest, actually, a lot of users doesn't know anything about technical like terms or technical not. They don't have technical backgrounds. But that's okay. That's still very smooth experience because our agents will take care of that, and they just need to maybe review, and probably if they don't find anything any flaws, they can just click approve and they can verify later, like from the preview part of
So,
the.
so is the current incarnation of Atoms geared towards people who are launching online businesses, e-commerce, those kinds of things? In other words, you have things like Stripe integration.
Mhm,
Um, you mentioned SEO, so maybe
mhm.
you even have integrations to ad platforms. Is that correct? And then
Yeah.
what are some of the key integrations that you have?
Oh, okay. So key integration is like we have our own infrastructure or databases, like our databases, like providers. We have the payment feature, right?
Yeah.
And we have a unified OAuth system. So in the future, we may also introduce recommendation features, like
Oh, really?
when
Okay.
users. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So we'll keep iterate and we'll keep adding more and more like features depending on the priorities. Yes.
So right now is the target user kind of like a solo entrepreneur or a very small team that may not have the technical chops to actually build these things. So that's the goal, is to really lower the barrier to launch an online business.
Yes, I think you get the point. Yeah, I think our core users are like people who have ideas but are constrained by execution. So maybe solo founders or operators inside small and mid-sized business. Yeah.
So you also launched recently what you call the race mode, which I guess is around latency and optimizing the speed of the agent. Is that correct?
I think the race mode is like we can run uh each like for instance, if you have a race mode of four agents or four with like a four products, basically each product is run by one base model or foundation model, and then you can compare. And because if even though the base model have similar performance, but they may have different taste or different like advantages, and users can have a chance to see what kind of style you like most, and you can keep iterating based
Oh,
on
I see.
that style of the product.
So
Yes.
it's basically, let's say I'm using Atoms and I'm in the product design phase. I
Mhm.
can use different foundation models, and then basically this allows me to evaluate them side by side.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Side by side.
yeah. And is it mostly so? The right now you target mainly open weights models, right?
I think we have most of the standard models here or the most the popular models in our backend in our system. So most of the time user can just use like the auto mode.
Okay.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
for users who are more particular, can they use models like, I don't know, Gemini, Claude, OpenAI?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Cloud is like a very popular model for coding agents. Yes.
And for users who need multimodal capabilities, they may want to use something like Gemini, right? Or
Exactly. Exactly.
or OpenAI, right?
They
Uh,
can explicitly pick the foundation model if they want. Yeah.
and so what if you look at your or your system of agents, right? So this might be a hard question to answer. So, but what is the most technically complex? Is it the deep research agent? What is the most computationally and technically complex of the agents that you provide out of the box?
Okay. Let me think. Yeah, I think So first of all, autonomy isn't a single model or prompt. So like I said earlier, it's a system problem. So I think the difficult part, I can give you an example, I think
Yeah.
is how we coordinate all these agents, context engineering and the system design to actually make it less latency, to make the deliver with less latency and better accuracy. And all these kind of optimizations and all this kind of like researchers, we actually published a few like papers, and we are building those execution layer on top of the researchers. I think that's the tricky part. Yeah.
But so one of the challenges with multi-agents is just communication between the agents, right? So inter-agent,
Yes, context engineering. I would say, yeah, I would say context engineering. Yeah.
inter-agent communication, because one agent may lie to another agent and say, "Hey, yeah, I'm done," and turns out not, right? Or one agent may fool another agent. So what are your what? So how do you solve the problem of inter-agent communication?
Yeah, I think that's when the algorithm part comes into to your question. So basically, each time we have for this multi-agent system, we need to introduce some of our theories we published from our papers, and we need to. So most of the time, they are running in loops, So um, um, whenever, and also there's algorithm like React, you need to um, act on the current behavior, and then you need to observe and then think, and then keep the actions. So it's not about who lied or not, but it's more about if the result can be evaluated and the result
Validated, right? So
evaluated and validated, and then once it's like confirmed, that's actually delivering the expected outcome, and then move on to the next agent or move on to the next stage. Yeah.
so it sounds like what the at a high level, what you have is something like a Shopify, but it's all built with AI.
I think Shopify is one aspect. I think
Yeah.
I think the
Or
interesting part is
Shopify plus WordPress. You know what I mean? So any kind of
yeah.
online business that you can develop, but what you folks are providing is the ability to build this using AI. So there's one thing to build and launch Ethan, as you know, but obviously once you launch something, now you have to continually grow it, maintain it, secure it, uh, and so on and so forth, right? So improve it, because
Mhm.
just because you launch doesn't mean the designs that you use when you launch are something you'll keep, right?
Yes, yes. I think that's the attractive part, because when I think the root shift is the speed and optionality. So basically, when execution becomes near instant, so markets can be tested in days instead of quarters, right? That fundamentally change who gets to build companies and how many experiments are possible simultaneously. So I think it's way easier for people to actually get started to build on their ideas, and then to quickly validate or verify. And then if they find something is promising, of course, they can keep iterating and refine that product. Or well, if something doesn't work, that's okay. It doesn't cost that much. It's just no big risk, no big deal, and you can keep thinking of better ideas or other ideas. I think that's the value we try to deliver. Yes.
I know it's still early days, but how customizable uh, do you folks uh, plan to be? So in other words, so we talked about I'll be able to use whatever AI model I want, right? So can I use whatever payment system or database backend that I want? So what level of customization is available?
Yes, I think that's more of a product question, and there are apparently a lot of trade-offs here to make. because we are making like a general
An
platform,
integrated,
right?
a completely
Yeah, a
integrated.
general integrated platform. So the trade-off here, if you want to support more thing, you kind of adding or more like if you are able to choose different kinds of databases, or that becomes one more layer of abstraction on the technical side, right? That will increase the difficulties and the efforts, and sometimes it may not be that stable. So we try to do the trade-off every day, like what users really want. Are we like over designing, or are we actually, or some feature, or just missing some vital or key features here? We do need to integrate that feature. So we are basically think about this every day. But for now, I think we are providing some like
End to
standard
end,
level,
an end to
yeah, end
end.
to end, and the
Yeah.
end to end standard level. Like for database, we have a solution. You don't need to worry about which database to choose. For models, if you don't know anything about models, we have our auto selection of models. So because a lot of users, or most of our users, doesn't have like very deep
Technical.
knowledge about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
technical stuff. So
That's the entire sweet spot for the user, right?
yes, yes.
So let me ask you this. So you have a deep research agent called Iris, right? So I'm using you, and Iris is doing market research for me and competitive analysis. But then I decide, okay, I'm going to use Gemini and OpenAI deep research too to do market analysis and competitive research. So how does it work? So how can I blend the results of this different deep research to kind of improve? Because how do I know Iris is the best deep research agent for the markets that I'm interested in?
Are you asking about like comparing between different products in terms of the deep research
Or
accuracy? Or
no, no, yeah. I just want to be able to say to Adams, like, okay, use Iris to do deep research, but I'm also giving you the results of deep research from other deep research tools. So will it be able to blend in the external deep research results to come up with a
oh,
better?
blending.
Yeah.
I see. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course. Yeah, you can basically add more stuff in the prompt to actually, give some specific directions, or some more, provide more data to our deep research system. Yes. Yeah.
And then in terms of long-term ownership, this is an AI generated app and I become successful. And over time, I actually start hiring engineers, so the
Mm-hmm.
engineers want to maintain the code themselves. So can I export everything over to GitHub and hand off and start it's customizing and maintaining the code base on my own.
Yes, I think that's doable. Yes, that's doable.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. Um, so what's next? What's in the near term roadmap for Atoms?
Yes, so I think the next step is we try to um, grow our company, our own company. We try to, you know, try to have more talents in the team, and then we need to keep iterating our product, polish the product, and do more. Keep understanding what users really want, what they are really interested in, and what kind of features they really need. And then we keep like iterate and polish our products, and adding more features to our product. Yeah.
So right now, you haven't had enough time to get user feedback and users haven't been able to tell you, okay, this is what we want, this is what you don't have, and uh, this is what we want.
Oh no, I mean this is actually, this has been happening like all the time since we launched. But I think we need to keep iterating from
Right.
like building this with this cycle. Yes, yes.
So are you comfortable sharing some of the things that users are asking for that you folks are planning to add?
Um, yes, I just mentioned maybe in the next stage we may introduce this recommendation
Oh
feature
yeah, that's awesome.
in
Yeah.
our backend. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
also we need to make make the product experience better. We need to keep investigate, do product research, and get user feedbacks like at which step we do just want don't want user we need to understand at which step user feel difficult. They may not want to proceed. We know we need to fix those parts. Yeah. So make the product better. Yeah.
So right now, at the early stage of the company, Ethan, would you say, so what would be the dominant user profile for Atoms? It's not a developer. Is it a product manager? So what's the dominant background of people using Atoms?
I think um I think it's the people who have ideas but are constrained by execution. So I could say
But do
solo
they have
founders. Yeah, solo found. Yeah,
are they
yeah.
usually coming from sales, marketing, product? So what is the dominant background, skill set, I guess?
Yes, I think the sales marketing is definitely the target audience, part of the party target audience. They have resources. They know what kind of features people really want, but they don't really know how to build them, or they don't have the technologies or the technical backgrounds, or they don't want to spend too much money, or the cost is too high. And then it's definitely a good choice for them to use our product to build the products. Yes.
By the way, so vibe coding, right? So it's one thing in the vibe coding sense, right? So I know I am building something, and in order to build it, I need code. So then I'm using vibe coding, and then I have code. And if
Mm.
I'm not technical, as long as it works, I guess I'm happy, right? So in the case of what you folks are trying to do, vibe business, right? So I'm trying to build a business, but frankly, I come from a sales or marketing background, and I don't even know what product design is. What is good product design, right? So what's a good uh, product requirement document, and So in other words, I may have large gaps, Ethan, in terms of my knowledge, right? So definitely I don't know how to code, but there's a lot of other things I don't know, right? So, in terms of, I have an idea, right? So I think people will buy the following, but how how do you help people to kind of fill in the gaps in terms of their knowledge and background?
Yeah, so I think the key thing here is to make our product user friendly to those kind of people who don't have like the too much knowledge about the PRDs, ERDs, or
Yeah.
how to code, but they
Or
have.
even user analysis, the early user feedback and user analysis, because you guys are going to use virtual users, agents, right? So you'll
Yeah.
have to kind of explain in simple terms to people what's happening, right?
Yes, exactly. So, first of all, we need to explain to the users in simple terms, and we try to, keep in our page, we keep communicate to the users what we have done so far, what is missing, so they understand like the progress of this product, and they can use. Sometimes they don't they may not know how to create like a very they don't know how to create a perfect prompt. But that's okay. They just create a prompt that they understand, or they actually they know what they actually want, but they cannot describe the requirements like perfectly. But that's fine because our agents have that kind of optimization internally to when we are like when we are calling agents, or when the agents are actually using large language models. We have a lot of optimizations, context engineering, system design here. So when we say less is more, so basically that's because our system take care of the most difficult part, and the users just only need to give us very like simple terms, or simple prompts, or like the simple requirements. Yes.
That's interesting that you're saying optimization. So, uh, Are you using things like DSPy, JEPA?
Uh, yeah, I'll probably not disclose the
Yeah, yeah.
technical details right now, but yeah.
So how much, so you said that a lot of what you folks have built is based on open research. How much of it is open source?
Uh, I think we have an open source project called Meta GPT. People
Oh
can
yeah, yeah.
Google it, and so I think that's actually the core part of how we designed the multi-agent system originally. I think they can people can just take a look. Yeah.
And with that, thank you, Ethan.